Hey guys, day two. At this point, we're going to be talking about more about Republican and Democrat beliefs and what they believe and why they believe them and whether or not it's good or bad. You have another assignment to do for this one, so we'll get right to it. But before I continue at all, I know I'm not here in person to tell you guys this, but if you're doing this at least on Thursday when I gave it to you, happy Easter, guys. Enjoy this time. I hope you guys are with your families. And don't forget what the whole point of this holiday is. It's the most important time of the year for Christians, where Christ came and died for us and gave us redemption at this point. And I know there's a lot going on in the world with this whole coronavirus, but God's still on the throne at this point, and that still remains true. Anywho, without further ado, let's start talking about politics. So we're going to start talking about the environment now. Republicans on the environment. So if you need a little bit of a refresher, the Republicans do believe that the environment should be protected. It's not that they're against the environment, uh, because your evidence of that would be Teddy Roosevelt doing national parks and all that different stuff. The main difference is Republicans are against notions such as global warmings, carbon emissions, all that different stuff. First, let's make sure we're all on the page here. Since we've established both parties want to help the environment, what's the issue here? Where's the division? The division comes with the concept of global warming. Global warming is the idea that because of greenhouse gases and various other things, the Earth is progressively warming and warming and warming, and will eventually get a point that we're no longer getting a nice tan from it. We're actually like burning to death or something like that. Now, Republicans' belief is that global warming is not really all that. I mean, if you take the literal definition of global warming, like as in global and warming, then yeah, they would agree that the Earth is getting a little bit warmer. However, the reason why they'll debate and whether or not it's a big issue, that's where we see the difference with this. Okay, Mr. Shoens, that didn't answer anything. That just explained it even more. Okay, in the ideas of the Republicans, trying to prevent global warming or climate change would be a huge cost in the eyes of the Republicans. To put in perspective, the reason why is because you can't even go outside and stop it from raining. What makes you think just throwing money at a problem, you can change the temperature of the entire Earth uh, to prevent this global warming? Experts claim that to do such a thing, to reduce temperature in the world by zero point 0.1 of a degree, would cost $90 trillion. And if you remember what our debt is as far as the US, our debt's about 23 trillion right now. Republicans believe we just can't afford something like that. It's not necessarily that it wouldn't be a good idea to cool the earth a little bit, but at what cost? So is it a bad thing, Mr. Shones? So at least from the Republican side of view, I mean, obviously, climate change and stuff like that, it really just depends on how you view it. There can be other aspects of it, of the environment, cleaner oceans, less pollutions, etc. I'll throw it out there. Republicans do care about all that. Admittedly, the environment, though, is just not the center of attention for the Republicans. So I don't know if you can really say it's good or bad because a lot of it is just interesting. So let's move on to the Democrats with the environment. So the Democrats also believe the environment should be protected, and they also believe that there should be a push to more alternative, greener, clean sources of energy, which we'll talk about a little bit more in economics because there's nothing wrong with wanting greener energies. It's just you might be shocked of how useful they actually are. But anywho, the Democrats, the polar opposite though on this climate change, global warming thing, they think that climate change is a big issue. Greenhouse gases, big issue. Long-term fossil fuel usage, which is oil, issue. Is that a good or bad thing, Mr. Shones? Well, again, the environment's a big debate topic, and I don't think in 10 minutes I could really adequately explain it to both Republicans and Democrats. I'm just kind of introducing it to you guys. But the Democrats believe in stuff like global warming and man-induced climate change. And they also believe that if we don't do something about it, there will be irreparable consequences, which is like stuff you can't fix in the future, to our planet and to our world. And they also believe that you should be a lot cleaner for the environment. which can be a good thing. I mean, I do enjoy the reality of baby dolphins being able to swim safely. But can it be a bad thing? Well, the biggest thing is stuff like the cost. You've probably heard of stuff like the Green New Deal on the news. That's the thing that I said would estimate about $90 trillion to do. Is it the environment, which could very well not be in an issue? I mean, we don't have enough recorded data to tell whether or not this is something that humans are causing or something the Earth just goes through, like a cycle. There's years that are hot, there's years that are cold. Is it really worth spending all that money, which could be used on a lot of other good things for you guys and your families and stuff like that, on the environment? Obviously, it depends on how much you value it. But I'm just showing you where both sides stand on the equation. They both care about the environment, but one wants to go a little bit more than the other. Let's move on to immigration. I know a lot of you guys probably chuckled at this picture. So let's talk about the Republicans on immigration. Now, the actual party is a little bit divided on how to deal with the issue of illegal immigration, but the position is pretty clear. They're against illegal immigration. And the key word is illegal immigration. Republicans are focused on securing the border and deporting illegal immigrants. Now, is that a good thing, Mr. Shoens? Well, at the end of the day, the United States is essentially a country of immigrants. Nobody in this country, if you trace back all your ancestors, go back to this continent right here, all the way back to the Garden of Eden. No, that's not how that works. So, and essentially, at one point, your family was an immigrant to this country. The biggest difference for the Republicans is they're not against immigrants, they're against illegal immigrants. So, in order to become an immigrant of the United States, you apply for it, you take a naturalization test. I gave it to you guys at the beginning of the year, the citizenship test. And if you pass, you take an oath of allegiance, and then you're good to go. They're against illegal immigrants. So people who cross over illegally and don't go through the process, go through the background checks, all that different stuff that ultimately somebody in your family had to do at one point. So basically the concept is your ancestors did a lot in order to come here and be a legal migrant. Shouldn't everyone have to play by those rules? Now, can this be a bad thing, Mr. Shones? Sometimes there's some really sad situations in the world. You see a country get overrun by a really bad situation, and people tend to go to the United States seeking asylum, seeking refuge, all that different stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that. Republicans are fine with people like that. It's just they want them to go through the legal refugee process. At the end of the day, there can be one person or even 10 people who are escaping a bad situation and really need help, but it just takes one bad person to sneak in and cause a lot of harm, and then at the end of the day, we all suffer because of it. So that's why they're really adamant about this whole illegal immigration. Should be the key word again is illegal immigration. Now let's move on to the Democrats. So the Democrats believe in a systematic reform to the immigration system. Basically, they want to change it up to be a little bit easier to become a citizen of the United States. And they also want a pathway to citizenship for the people who have crossed over here illegally. Now, is that a good thing, Mr. Shones? As I've pointed before, we're a country of immigrants, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's one of the reasons why I love Florida so much, because you see so much diversity in Florida and various other parts in the United States. It's very different, very unique, and very awesome. So we are a country of immigrants, and that's a great thing. Democrats believe that we should be extending the hand of citizenship a lot more easier. Now, can that be a bad thing, Mr. Shones? Well, it really depends on how you look at it. Right now, the doors of the United States, I mean, not right now because of the coronavirus, but under normal circumstances, it's not like we don't accept immigrants. If you apply for citizenship from another country and you pass the citizenship test and you go through the legal process, you become a citizen of the United States, meaning that it's not like we're excluding immigrants in our country full of immigrants. So there is a legal process to becoming a full-fledged immigrant of the United States and ultimately becoming a citizen. Uh, and then you have a situation where there could be a bad egg amongst the bunch. Let's say you bring in a bunch of illegal migrants, and let's say even 100 of them or 1,000 of them are great people. They get jobs, they pay taxes and stuff like that, and that'd be great. It just takes one bad person who didn't go through the background check, didn't pass the test, and wanted to hurt people here in the United States to ruin that. And that could be the negative side of this viewpoint. Side note, I should point out to you guys, that whole unit of citizenship and stuff like that is actually the unit I was supposed to do after retreat, and that hurricane made me lose it. Hopefully at the end of the year, I can talk about what that is. I mean, you already did one part of it. You took the naturalization test, the citizenship test. Hopefully I can talk a little bit more about that, what a green card is, all that different stuff. If not, I apologize. That was hurricane, and now we have corona, and this year has been weird. Yeah. Anywho, those are two more viewpoints down. You guys have another assignment to do for turnitin.com. Make sure you get that done and enjoy your Easter, guys.